Think of Indiana crops, you often think of corn and soybeans, but rarely do you think of barley. Our state fair coverage continues with RTV6's Todd Clausen. Todd went to the Sugar Creek Malt Company in Lebanon, one of the fair's featured farmers, where not only are they growing barley, they have become the largest malt house in Indiana.
Malt is what makes beer. The base and the foundation, the soul of beer is the malt.
In northern Boone County, you will find the Sugar Creek Malt Company, the largest commercial malt company in the state of Indiana. Caleb Mashaki and his family started it 3 years ago.
The goal is to try to make a product as local as possible and as high quality as possible for the brewers that are making, Indiana beer.
This is tougher than it sounds. Besides water, which is the main ingredient, you need grain, especially barley. And most of the barley in the United States is grown out west in drier climates.
Indiana is not the best climate for barley to be raised in. I mean, it can be raised, and we have some very successful years, but there are other years that we also have some really terrible years.
Barley does not like water, heat, or humidity, three things you often find in abundance during Indiana summers. To get around this, Caleb will work with other local farmers and plant in the fall and then harvest in the spring. They will plant barley in different fields around the state to prevent storm damage, but also to cover themselves if one area gets too much rain or not enough. This way, everything is not in one location.
Depending on the weather, if we get too much rain or we get a hailstorm or things like that, then we can lose that entire field.
Once ready for harvest, to get the grain from the fields and eventually into your favorite local pint or cocktail, it is a multi-step task.
The barley will come from the fields. It'll be put into these steep tanks filled with water where it will sit for 2 days. From there, it goes into these germination floors where it's allowed to grow.
As the barley grows, it will grow roots, and if left too long, those roots will grow together.
Under these germination floors is air that gets pumped up. In order for that air to come through those roots you just saw, they have to be broken up. So once a day, somebody comes through and turns over this barley to separate those roots, sits here for 4 days before it goes into the kiln.
In the kiln, the barley will be cooked for 20 to 24 hours to dry and cure. Cooking the barley different lengths of time gives the barley different flavor, and then in turn makes your pilsners, your pale ales, and your porters. From the kiln, it is sent to the seed cleaner, which separates the good, which is the seed, and goes into your beer, with the waste, which will go to livestock. The malt is then shipped mainly to breweries within 200 miles of Lebanon.
That's what we try to do is create the soul of all the beer here in Indiana.
The Sugar Creek Malt Company has also malted with corn, oak, and buckwheat. So the next time you raise your glass of your favorite local pint or cocktail, there's a good chance that your drink started with true Hoosier roots. Todd Clausen, RTV6.